Uh-huh.
That's right.
Like biscuits.
Straight out of the oven.
Gobble damn cookies up, yo.
Word.
Gotta have them bikkies.
Cookie Monster rates us.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
It's Life Biscuits, the Life Biscuits show with Glenn and Chris. Snack size wisdom, life size impact.
Yes, indeed, Lowy. We are here with episode 7, and that episode is about...
Preparation.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please don't cut off now. Think preparation, boring. All right, we are going to really hit you with some truth tonight about, I'll say it again, one of my favourite bikkies, but one of my weakest bikkies as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of our listeners might say preparation is their weakest biscuit as well. But this is the biscuit where you can really get a lot of value in terms of reaching your potential.
Yeah, I mean, without this, what we'll go through tonight with our little acronym, which we'll have for you again, without it, you're really limiting yourself, and I've been limiting myself, regularly. It's been a focus of me in trying to cultivate better preparation, probably only purposefully over the last 2 years, maybe 3 years. My wife got it onto me, bullet journaling. That started the journey.
Yeah.
And I've kind of built my own little systems from
and
there.
I saw your cute little bullet journal, and I was like, that looks kind of good. Granted, mine is a lot messier and disorganized, but it's such a great little intro. I don't think I'm at your stage yet, but we're on this journey together, folks.
There's some cool stuff. I'm terrible compared to if you hit the internet and say bullet journaling.
Yeah.
It can help a lot with preparing and preparation. Now, I think one of the reasons why this biscuit is a weak point for a lot of people is that, I mean, we're all on the preparation spectrum somewhere, right? From basically prepared for the day, which would be very reactive. We're at this minimum level. I pretty much know that I have to wake up and I have to go to work or to school at a certain time, and then, some bells will ring or someone will tell me to go on a break or something like that. And then I'll know that I'll have to come home perhaps for dinner or something like that.
And at some point I need to get some Z's.
Yeah, exactly. And I should probably put food in my mouth.
Yeah.
All right, that's our left side of the spectrum, so to speak, if you're looking at it on a piece of paper. And then we could obviously move very far to the right. And if you went to, I don't know if there's an end point, but the people, I think, who are naturally this way inclined would be over towards the right of the graph. And they would be looking at people who know exactly what is on their agenda and have minutes allocated to certain instances, and they know exactly what they need to get done when due dates are, what's happening, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, those are the types of people who are probably often more experiencing flow as well, because they have everything sorted, organised and prepared.
Definitely. And I mean, flow and deliberate practice, two contrasting yet super tasty sort of things that we can get into, and we'll probably mention quite often, and we'll try and refer to some of the research about that and the authors about those also. I think the reason why there is such a large spectrum is because this is not a glamorous bicky.
No, it's not. It's certainly something that needs to be worked at. It's about just everybody wants to have the potential, the potential that their life can be, but sometimes it's very hard to put in the hard yakka to do the planning, to do in the preparation.
Yeah. It's often behind closed doors.
Yeah. No one sees it. It's not glamorous at all.
No. But it does separate the mediocre from the great, and the great from the exceptional. I mean, I think if you would be hard pressed to find someone who is dominating their realm in the world without, adequate or superior preparation to the majority of people. It all comes down, and this is one of my favourite concepts, Lowy.
It's mind-boggling.
The mind-boggling concept of time. It's not our acronym. We did flirt with going with the time acronym.
Yeah.
But man, time is just a freaky thing. And I know we've spoken about it before, and we're going to speak about it at quite a few different points tonight. But
It's the fourth dimension. Everybody can see in 3 dimension, but fourth dimension time.
yeah, like the fact that it's just relentless and
Yeah.
ongoing, and that each moment will never come again,
Yeah.
and you can't buy more of it. But we can choose how we spend it, as we've talked about before, and we know that time is finite. There's 24 hours in a day, but the potential that it brings and what we can do with that 24 hours is, approaching
Limitless. Good English. Oh boy.
very good. So we can sort of, people talk about this concept of expanding time,
Yeah.
with how effective we are with our use of it.
Yeah. We're starting to get into that black hole dimension stuff, man. Wormholes.
Do. And I mean, we're going to be talking about, I'll give you some of my thoughts on time a little bit later when I talk about how it casts its spell over me sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Shall we get into this?
Yeah.
I'll give you the definition of what we think preparation is.
Yeah,
at the
we've come
moment.
up with our own little def. Take it away.
Life Biscuit definition for preparation is the deliberate readiness to move forward towards an outcome or direction. It includes mental readiness.
Yep. So deliberate, key word there. All right, we have to be intentional about it, and we'll talk about carving out time for being ready through excellent preparation.
So the acronym we've got for you today is PREP. And you're like, preparation, prep. Makes sense.
Definitely.
Nice flow on.
Keep it easy, keep it simple. Benjamin Franklin said, which various other people have said again, but he's the earliest one I can track it to, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. Oof. All right, so yeah, like straight up, if we want to succeed, then we must
You got to prepare.
It's that simple. So the first P in the PREP acronym is Lowy.
Plan the particulars. And planning the particulars is really about that nitty gritty stuff we talked about, the unglamorous, the behind the doors and behind the scenes stuff that you've got to do if you want to get to that potential.
For sure.
I mean, if we think about high performing organizations like the SEALs or the NASA or the NFL, these organizations are doing every little thing. If I think about what it takes to send a man to the moon, like these guys are planning the different G's that they're going to face on the moon. They're talking about different winds or whatever on Mars. What sort of minor, like how there's all that space dust or space debris from satellites and whatnot. Like they're calculating all the to the minute, just to make sure that no stray little bit of debris is going to hit their, insulating pad on one side of the rocket, which then will on exit of the atmosphere burn up. Like they've dialed down to the tiniest, every little particular is accounted for.
Yeah.
They're talking about screws and how they react with pHs and their tensile strength and resistance. So yeah, if we want to live our life to the potential, we've got to do that little stuff, the particulars.
Sure. Success is in the particulars. Our school is what we call a high reliability school, and it really, this program that we're kind of following really links to that concept of these high performing organizations are highly reliable in that they have their particulars sorted. And as a school, we want to have our particulars sorted. So, everything from our pedagogy is specific, but still allowing teachers to obviously do their thing. And then our planning and our curriculum and our school culture and everything is like there is a plan for it. It's not just rocking up and seeing how we go.
Yeah. There's you can't just rock up. There are no shortcuts to success.
Yeah. I think, do we want to be known as highly reliable people?
Hell yeah, I do.
And do you want to be known as a high-performing person?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hopefully not sitting there going, "Oh no, I want to be mediocre. I want to be a bit crap." Sorry.
That's the honest truth, really.
Yeah, exactly. Like Life Biscuits ain't for you yet, and I'll say yet because one day you will flick a switch and go, "Wait, maybe I should tune back in because I now want to be highly reliable and high performing. Even again, if it is within my little household or whatever, it doesn't have to be on a huge scale. Whew. All right, I've been caught out a few times with missing the particulars. Again, we talked about the spectrum earlier, the spectrum of preparation. And yeah, I've been, like if I think about volleyball, for example, as a volleyball coach, I've gone through weeks in terms of training with kids and teams to then go to a competition and get found out. By the opposition just doing things that we were not prepared for, and I hadn't adequately prepared the kids for, because we rarely kind of compete at that level, being a regional school as compared to the sort of metro schools who maybe compete a little bit more. So we're just often training, a very insular environment, and next minute we play against something and you're kind of like, oh, why didn't you get that ball? It's right there. But then you're like, wait, that's on me because we haven't planned for that particular scenario explicitly. And that sort of hit home with me when I started studying this stuff. I'm like, wait, that's on me. Reading John Wooden.
I think everybody's been called out in terms of their planning before. And if you haven't, or if you don't think you're that kind of person, you're either super, super prepared or you don't have that self-awareness that you've been caught out. Share a little story about me also getting caught out. I think this might be both of us. But we did that triathlon at Mooloolaba. And I think I've been talking previously about, just trying to work on my swim, because I don't want to reinforce Asian stereotypes, but my swim is the weakest part of my leg. And, I just couldn't break the 45-minute barrier for 1.9 kilometers for my half Ironman. And I was just like, you know what? I'll prepare. I'll just keep swimming. I'll just keep, I'll do my distance and I'll keep working at it, and thinking that, if I can just brute force it, as opposed to really planning the way to prepare for this whole performance of this half Ironman / triathlon, I would have been much more successful. But instead, I got caught out and I was cramping big time. It was like, you started a lot earlier than I did, but I was running it. It was a hot day. I remember getting off the bike and I was cramping big time. I couldn't straighten my leg properly. It was straight locked out and then bent. And I knew. I think I did 2 preparation runs, and I was like, oh yeah, I've run 10K plenty of times before, And then I got found out by the sun, I got found out by you because you beat me.
Oh man, I got found out by
pretty much everybody, because we
bike seat, the saddle, and the run, and you name it. But we really struggled on the particulars there. Like if you think the day before, we didn't even realize how far the walk was from sort of check-in to transition. So we just, we could have just hopped on our bikes and ridden and saved ourselves like
a $5-10
3,000
parking
steps or whatever. Well, paid for parking, got a bit closer and all that sort of thing. Then we're rocking up on the day and we're like, what do you reckon I should eat? Do you reckon I should eat this now or later? In terms of the particulars...
No, we did not plan those particulars very well.
No, exactly. So we should not be surprised at the outcome.
Yeah, exactly. So that just underscores how important those particulars are. I could have saved myself so much pain.
Yeah, for sure. We use a trail athlon as an example, and we've got another shot at that next year.
Right? We're coming back with a vengeance, guys.
And to be blunt, life's one shot. Each day we get one shot at that day.
Yeah.
And we want to get better each opportunity we get. Yeah. But as a whole picture, and we know that sort of some encounters, it might be the first and last opportunity you get.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are we going to do with it? And if you're looking like a clown because you don't even know where you're meant to be or what time you're meant to be there, because we've sort of got away without the particulars, then we are struggling. If we don't as well, Lowie, I think this is a key point here that I think people might resonate with, perhaps, if they're honest with themselves.
Yeah.
I think not planning adequately encourages unethical behaviour. I've definitely, and I say that from experience.
Yeah.
Like, I like to say that I'm a upstanding citizen and have integrity and all of that sort of thing. And obviously we'll talk more about these things in future weeks. But the amount of times that I've had to kind of cover for my poor preparation. For example, I'll rock up to a class and they'll say, "Oh, sir, have you got our marks, from the assessment or whatever?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I do, but I left them at home." And meanwhile, yes, I did leave them at home, but I haven't marked them. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'll just mark them tonight, and then I'll bring them tomorrow, and all will be good.
None the wiser.
And so I've really compromised my integrity there, even though they don't know. And if you're listening to this, apologies. It won't happen again. But I think that and sort of exaggerating things when.
It just definitely makes it easier for you if you haven't prepared to slip into those less than desirable actions.
Yeah. And I think it's just flippant use of time. Like, I would be on the night before that kid has asked me, I would have sat on the couch and gone, kid's probably going to ask me tomorrow about their marking and should do it, keep watching whatever I'm doing, and then I'll go to bed, and then I'll rock up in the class, and here I am.
Yeah.
And I have to make an excuse now.
Yeah.
And I think I might have even done that twice. Oh, I've forgotten again. Left them at home again. Oh my gosh. Jeez.
Kids, don't use that excuse with your homework, please.
But I think, winging it is something that, we think we can afford to do. But if we're to be truly honest with ourselves, we need to be, I think everyone who's saying, "Oh, I'll just wing it," needs to do better, including myself.
100% agree. I mean, you almost get, like, when we talk about winging it, we know that we're capable, but we're going through those motions. And I know, I use my classes as an example. You get into, like, we've been teaching for a while, you get into that almost autonomy of like, yeah, I know what we're doing. I know what the assessment is, and I've taught this unit. I know the kids, but to really reach that potential, you can't go through the motions and be like satisfied with that mediocrity.
Yeah, and bring out the potential in others.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's going through the motions is the antonym of preparation. It's the opposite.
Exactly. Opposite. Yeah, it's so reactive to not prepare well, because you're essentially just going, I'm just going to see what happens, rather than being proactive. And I mean, you can't get more proactive than planning the particulars.
I got a good quote for you guys. Luck is the offspring of the prepared. Glenn Martin. Write that down, folks.
Luck
That's
is
gold.
the offspring of the prepared. Yes. And I mean, Oprah in the past has said, which I believe then goes even, quite a way further back than then, that luck is where opportunity meets preparation. And so, looking at it, I mean, honestly, we always go on about fate and luck and blah, all these kind of concepts, which I think are really just things.
Just kind of like almost half excuses.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of just things that people make up to go, "Oh, he's so lucky." Meanwhile, that person's just the one doing the work.
Yeah, I mean, when we give feedback as coaches, and someone makes a mistake, it's easy for us to go, bad luck, next one. And it's kind of like, when we're playing a game, it's not bad luck. Like, we didn't prepare well enough for doing this skill or executing this pass or whatever.
Like, everyone looks at the championship team or the winning athlete and they're just like, "Oh man, he's got it all," but they don't, before we said that, the spectacular performances, they're preceded by unspectacular preparation. Like, people are in the gym and in the pool and in their bedroom with their book and with their computer, like doing the hard yards to make something that is awesome and amazing. So yeah, planning the particulars. Hey, we just can't be careless with the particulars. I think carelessness with something as valuable as the particulars of what we're going to do with our time sort of begs the question as to what else are we careless with. If we're careless with something as valuable as time,
which you never get back,
exactly, then we're just going to be careless with so much other stuff, I think. Just need to be honest with ourselves, I think, in that respect, Lowy.
Leave nothing to chance, folks. Prepare and plan the particulars.
Yeah, Bear Bryant, who, sort of legendary American football coach, says everyone is prepared to win. Right? Obviously, everyone wants to win. I'm prepared to win. Yeah,
I'm
cool.
ready to hoist that trophy.
Yeah, but are you prepared to prepare to win? And I mean, that's a whole different kettle of fish. Yeah. Like, in volleyball, kids just want to hit the ball. Let's just play games and hit.
When can we hit, sir? When can we hit?
Exactly. But if you can't pass...
Yeah, you're not going to get the set to
exactly.
hit.
Good times.
Yes, extra coaching for you volleyballers listening.
Definitely. So, we talked about planning particulars. Leaving nothing to chance. This brings us to our next... letter of the acronym. We've been through the P. We're now at the R. Remembering the acronym is PREP tonight. And the R is rehearse for the big show.
And the big show is life, right? Like, you only get one shot at this life.
Exactly.
Right? One shot. If I knew the lyrics to Eminem's song, I would start busting them out right now. But there is one chance. And you can't squander that one chance by not preparing and not rehearsing. Like, if you think about performers, like U2, they perform, they rehearse, they do sound checks, all right? They're doing the little things, all right, that make their show great. If we're talking about, I talked about NFL before, how they're high reliable, they're high performing organizations. Like, they will perform and execute and rehearse drills and plays over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, Bill Belichick will rehearse for, games in wet weather, like by squirting the ball with water and making his QBs throw with wet balls. All right. Or he'll turn the fans on in the stadium, or, make them train outside in the cold if they're flying up north to play. Like, you've got to rehearse if you want to be able to perform and live and perform at your potential.
Yeah, for sure. They're doing it meticulously, with particularness.
Yes.
To use the plan for the particular stuff, they are rehearsing this stuff
repeatedly
all the time. Two aspects here, I think. In our definition before, we said including mental readiness. And again, with this mental readiness, we have mental rehearsal, which has been shown by science to, like in the sporting realm, sports psychology, to improve physical performance just through mental rehearsal. By up to 50%, we can improve physical performance. So if I say to a kid, I want you to get your approach footwork, we need to just focus on that. And I talk to them about, like, while you're lying in bed trying to fall asleep, like, feel it. So close your eyes and see yourself in the gym and feel yourself doing it with that, approach footwork. See the ball, feel your feet hitting the ground, hear them hitting the ground. And just that, smell the smells of the gym and hear the sound of your hand hitting the ball cleanly and all that sort of thing literally improves our physical performance just through doing it mentally, which, let's bring that into our lives for a second here. And if you've ever wanted to time travel, people, we're about to show you how. Visualization. We can do that. Like, I don't know what... You used before the example of U2. So U2, okay, Coldplay, whoever the band is, rocking up to a concert, they get the opportunity to rehearse, right? They'll go to the stadium and wherever they're performing, and they're obviously going to say, oh yeah, g'day, we're Coldplay. person will check their schedule book. Oh, yes, okay, I've got you here.
Yeah.
Scheduled for 80,000 people to come. They'll obviously have this massive performance set up, and they will go and they will rehearse, right? And they have the luxury of being able to rehearse in that arena and whatnot. They don't have the luxury necessarily to do it with the crowd and all that sort of stuff. But I can promise you that they will be imagining what it's going to be like tomorrow night when the people are in here and filling it up. And we get a chance to do that. We don't know exactly what tomorrow is going to look like, but we have a pretty good guess because we've done many days like it before, perhaps. And so we can take this opportunity to, in our minds, go to the future and say, I know I'm going to meet with Lowy about this topic tomorrow. How do I want that to look like? From what I know about him, what are his likely responses? We're going to be sitting next to the canteen, so I can smell the smells of the canteen, and we're going to shake hands so I can feel the handshake and all that sort of thing. And this is the words I'm going to say, and these are the facial expressions I'm going to see. And like, we can literally almost transport ourselves to the future for a moment and plan the particulars of how we want something to look, or a class that I'm going to teach, or an interaction that I'm going to have at work or with a friend, or all that sort of thing. This power we've got through our brain and being able to harness what it can do through visualization and mental rehearsal is something that we've got to bring into our lives for our big show, for our performance, which is every day.
And another part of being mentally ready, all right, for the big show is preparing our mindset, right? It's like, yes, we've transported, time travel back to the future. People. All right, we're there. All right. We're feeling the senses, but also making sure our mindset is right, so that if things don't go the way that we anticipate, we're adaptable and we can manage, those sorts of interactions.
For sure. Like, we've got to prepare for the worst, but expect the best. So our mindset, we're all about choosing positive emotion, right, which we've spoken about. We can be optimistic about what to expect. And we can be optimistic in that even if things go wrong, that we've got a plan, and we know that whatever goes wrong is only temporary, and that we can grow from it. And that just because we failed there doesn't mean we're going to fail in other areas, and just because we failed there doesn't mean we're going to fail again. So preparing our mind is, again, a really good point. Mr. Lau.
Hey, I'm not sure if I read this incorrectly, but was there because we were talking about visualizing and how it actually improves performance. But is there? I think I read somewhere that visualizing lifting weights also increased strength because the neural pathways
pathway strengthens.
I mean, how crazy is that? If you think about just I'm lifting weights, not actually lifting weights, but still getting stronger. Insane. And that's how crazy visualization is. I'm rehearsing that big show, being mentally ready.
For sure. Now, we're not saying just sit on the couch and picture yourself lifting weights.
I'm going to be massive.
That sort of atrophy can occur also. And at some point you will just die. Anyway. So I want to flip back to time. I mentioned that we'd be talking about it a fair bit tonight. Time. Oh, here we go again. The time delusion. This freaky thing, right? What is it about time? Particularly for me, and I know I've spoken to other teachers about this. I'll be sitting there, and this again relates to the concept of this time travel idea. I'm at school, right? It's time to go home, and I've just been busting out work, but I know it's time to leave because I've got to get home and all that sort of thing. So I close my laptop up and I put it in my bag, and I'm like, I just can't wait. Once the kids go to bed tonight, I am just going to nail so much work. I'm going to conquer the world tonight. All right? I'm going to come in tomorrow and people be like, damn, son, you got all that done. I'm like, yeah. And then, all right, I'll go home and the kids are there in the afternoon and I'm sitting there playing, and in my mind I'm thinking, as soon as I go to bed, things are going to whew, man, look out. Then dinner happens and then washing up happens and kids go to bed and then sitting on the couch happens and then something else happens. What is it?
Wibbly wobbly time stuff happens.
All of a sudden, I went from I need to get all this done and I'm going to kick goals and it's going to be wild, to then I'm telling myself, I'm just didn't really need to do it, did I? No, there's so much time to do that. I've got that. I can do that later. It's all good, man. Like, just chill.
Or if you're like, I really need to get this done, but if I go to bed now, I'll have lots of energy to do it later.
Exactly. And then you don't actually process, because you haven't planned the particulars, that, like, if I go to bed now, you don't process the fact that when you wake up, like, you are actually completely busy until the time, if I use the marking example, until the time I rock up at that class.
Yeah.
And somehow I convinced myself the night before that I'm going to have 2 hours to suddenly mark all these things, which I said I was going to do tonight, but I've now put off to time that I don't actually have. Yeah. What is it about time, Lowy? Holy crap. Sorry, pardon the language, but it casts its spell on me. And I think I've got to be better at just harnessing that power of knowing.
Yeah.
And being explicit about the fact that when I'm in that up moment at leaving school, rather than saying, yeah, tonight I'm going to get this, I need to be like, yeah, tonight I'm going to sit on the couch and I'm going to have a voice that tells me that I've got plenty of time and I don't have to do it now, and like, just relax. And when I hear that voice come when I sit on the couch, I can be like, I hear you, little bad Glenbo. I'm going to choose good Glenbo, who's telling me, no, do it now, because there will be future pain if you don't.
Yeah.
Whereas if we can, and I mean,
it's like you got to take the time travel machine, the TARDIS, back into those times. Because I know the teachers listening, we've all taken our marking for a holiday home and back, and they've, nothing's been done.
Exactly. Like I've taken my big shopping bag full of marking to and from school like 5 days in a row.
And you've got to like, oh man, remember time travel back, visualize that time where you're just like, oh no, the shame of, that's always so shameful. Like, because I don't really, I carry all my stuff back in I park outside my staff room and it's like glass windows, and like Susan, my co-worker, will see me. She doesn't know, but she probably knows that, Larry hasn't marked them.
She'll
so
know when
harness
you carry
that
him
shame.
back out to your car that
the next
afternoon when you've told yourself that you'll do it that night.
Yeah, so time travel, remember the shame and just like, harness it. And,
exactly. Value your time. Don't be flippant with time. Carelessness with time means we're careless with other things. And while we're talking about time, can we say, and this is a hard-hitting truth for people, be on time.
Good timing then.
Some of us in the world, only me sort of recently, have had that realization of the power of time and what it is and how valuable it is. And just because, in the past I hadn't, I'd kind of devalued other people's time by, it's okay if I'm 5 minutes late or whatever. I can just say that this happened, or maybe a lot of times it would be that this happened, but it's because I didn't plan the particulars that I got it right. So to be clear, throwing this one out there, it's not fashionable to be late.
It's just disrespectful.
It is. It's ignorant, it's disrespectful, and it's lacks class, I believe, Larry. So challenging all listeners, never be late again.
Big challenge.
Oh, challenge has been set. And obviously we're going to be late, from time to time, but don't be the person who's always late. I think we need to take more seriously the idea of wasting time and wasting other people's time. So if you are late, sincerely apologise and then endeavour to not be late again. Again, with time, I think, 10 minutes to get there, all good. I've since incorporated a 5200 principle, which is I can get 50% of what I want to get done in 200% of the time. So if I think something's going to take me 10 minutes, then it's probably, I'll probably get half of it done in 20 minutes. Yeah. So I really need to kind of blow out my time to kind of 400% of what I think. Yeah. I use that as a very safe rule.
But we've all been there, like, in terms of putting things on our plate to do, and you're like, oh yeah, I'll get this done. I'll get this done. Oh, right, and then you're just like, at the end, you're just like, how have I only done this much? Like, I've been like smashing at it, just smashing away at it, and nothing, like, in a minuscule amount of what you thought you would accomplish has been accomplished.
And I think our effectiveness with time compounds. So the more we practice being really good and effective with our time and use of time,
By preparing,
then the better and better and better and better and better and better we are going to get. Just as if I practice my basketball shooting, I'm going to get better and better and better. If I practice my preparation and planning the particulars and, rehearsing and then going and getting it done, I'm going to get better. So a prepared person is going to get, someone who's really practiced this. They're going to get more done in 2 hours than I can get done in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I want to be that person.
Yep.
And we'll talk about what not to be efficient with a little bit later on. Oh,
Yeah.
love the chat, Lowy.
It's good. It's good. Little analogy for you guys with rehearsing, all right, or putting time away. We talked about how important time is, but the bow and arrow, all right. If we want to have a far trajectory, all right, we do have to put that effort. We do have to rehearse. That requires us to pull back, all right, take a step back almost, and use some of that time so that we can make and free up more time in the future, all right, and while achieving our goals, all right. If we're not aiming, okay, we're going to be off trajectory, all right. If we're not pulling back, all right, we're pulling like a tiny little bit, that arrow is just going to flop down. It's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
All right. So we have to be deliberate, all right, with the time that we do use to prepare, so we can maximize how far that arrow is going.
Absolutely. So you might be thinking, wait, it's a paradox to say I need to carve out some time and good amounts of time to plan the particulars and rehearse in my mind all this stuff. But I'm too busy.
Yeah.
I'm too busy to do that. No, man, you're too busy not to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to actually make sure that this is happening.
Got to invest in that time.
Exactly. Pull back, as you say. Pull back so that we can have impact moving forward. Good one. Good one, Lowy. All right. Well, that brings us to our E.
In prep, which stands for evaluate.
Evaluate the big stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, when we look at evaluating, we've planned the particulars and we've rehearsed in our mind. This is kind of that other aspect of the time travel. We've gone forward, and now we need to go back. Right, go back into our day that we've just had and evaluate it. Like, what was really good? What did I achieve? What didn't I achieve? What do I need to apologize for? What do I need to change? All of these things, kind of like processing all of this data. We gather data in our days all the time, and we've sort of planned some data, and we've gone and executed some data, and now I need to process it.
Yeah.
And we can afford to do that because our preparation is data and our days are data. And what data is it can be measured, and what can be measured can be improved, and ultimately that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't continue just doing the same preparation for the same thing over and over again and not analyze the improvements. Otherwise, if you're just doing that, we talked about going through the motions, and that is exactly what going through the motions is.
Yeah.
So you've got to analyze and evaluate what's big, the data that we've been able to obtain, all right? And part of that is a bit of journaling, all right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. And we continue.
We talk about
There's things that we're going to come up in the bickies all the time.
all the time.
All right. Journaling's one of them. Value hierarchy is one of them. All right. Improving potential is one of them. Hard truths coming at you. And this is another one. Take time to shut down and just visualize some things that went down in your day. And I mean, if we're not carving out our time to do that, then again, we're going to be at the mercy of circumstance and at the mercy of that little bad voice in your head going, you don't need to do this, man. Sleep is more important.
Sleep.
All right. And I mean, I'm not going to, we know.
Oh, we talked about sleep.
Rest and
condition.
rejuvenate.
Yeah.
Right. Rest and rejuvenate. But we've got to carve out the time, Lowy.
Yep.
All right. We've got to carve out the time. So whenever we can do that, got to be an intentional process. If we lapse on this sort of thing, our potential will lapse on us. Now, here's some big truth on preparation, all right, and evaluation and rehearsing and planning the particulars. So far, we've been through like courage, we've been through cultivation, we've been through connection and condition and confidence. All of these things, you know, if I was tracking them each day, have I practiced some courage today? Tick. Have I practiced some connecting with people today? Tick. If I get tick, 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 tick on all that stuff, awesome. I can afford to skip a day here and skip a day there because they have ongoing benefits, and I can kind of jump back on the horse really quick, and it'll be like I never left.
Yeah.
But preparation, Lowy, I could prepare every day for a month. Cool. Ooh, yeah, prepare. Tick that box. Tick that box. I did really well. I evaluated. I rehearsed. I'm loving it. But then I miss one day, and something can bite me.
Yeah.
You can get bit hard from failing to prepare on one day, and you can look like a fool because you had an important meeting that you were late for, and you came unprepared. You were meant to bring this document to, and you're rocking up going, ugh, I forgot. And no one sees the 30 days of preparation beforehand where you nailed it. They see that one time you dropped the ball. So if we're going to say, like, this is why this biscuit is so important, don't say it's boring. Like, this is
important to do.
Important, man. This is impact here. Our future depends on it. So we've got to, we need to create the time each day to go through the process as if our future depends on it, because it does. Tomorrow depends on it, and next year depends on it.
Yeah.
And in 10 years' time depends on it. So, yeah.
In terms of like understanding and evaluating what's the big stuff, evaluating the big stuff. Meditation, good stuff. We've talked in previous podcast episodes about, doing an audit at the end of the day or at the start of the day, rehearsing or visualizing the things that are going to be popping up. And meditating, great way to sort of evaluate what's big in that day and then what was actually big at the end of the day when you've done it. I think I know for myself, I kind of suck at it. I have a little habit tracker with my meditation, and this month has not been going well. And I used to do it in the morning. Like, I'd wake up, and at the start it was really hard to do, because I'd try to go sit down on my bed, and then now to help ease the difficulty of waking
this
up,
is gone.
I go sit down, and I drag my blanket and cocoon myself and sit at the back of my bed, and I lean up against it, and that way, like if I don't do that, I'll just go back to bed or whatever. So I'm sitting there and just take a minute to just really see what's going to happen and hopefully visualize as well, rehearse the day,
for sure, but
also what's going to be big for me. And then I haven't put in the systems at the moment to meditate well at night. I do evaluation and reflection. We do my journaling at night, but not really like a breathing meditation. But so valuable.
I've done mine on the fly of late. Just some breathing, kind of recentering stuff, and it's been really good. Just to help, with that calming of emotions and settling of nerves and bringing you back to what you can control and all that sort of thing. Really, really cool stuff. And we'll talk a bit more about meditation in the dunk tonight, because we've got a challenge for people out there. But thinking about, visual chain thinking, Jim Rohn says, with evaluating and going through. And we can also not only evaluate the past, but forecast and evaluate what's important moving forward. So what is, a big particular that I need to look at today? What are the big things this week? What are the big things this month? And what are the big things this year? This quarter, never start a day without knowing what the big thing is for the day. At least know what is today. What's the big thing that I need to make sure I win at? Even if it is just a great moment with someone. At least aim for that as a minimum. So we've got to evaluate what is big. What do you reckon, Larry?
I'm loving it, mate.
Perform the priorities. Speaking about what's big, all right? So if we evaluate what's big, know what's big in your life, okay?
Then we've got to perform the show, the big show.
Yeah, for sure. We've got to go and actually execute it and execute what is a priority. So
that is the last letter of our acronym PREP. Right? Perform the priorities.
So complete preparation means to focus on what matters most. I think that's at the core of kind of self-leadership, is going, what matters most to me, and focusing on that. And if we're doing this, we're guaranteed success. Like if you think, if in each moment of each day, if I ask my question, what's the most important thing I could be doing right now? If I'm doing that thing over and over and over and completion,
Compounding.
all right. Oh, boy, we're guaranteed some success there. Like we're guaranteed to kick our goals and all that sort of thing. Stephen Covey says, put the compass before the clock. So often our times it'll be filled with urgent things like, got to get this done, like, red tape stuff and deadline stuff. And you're just like, why am I doing this? Like, where's the kind of critical, compass-based big priority stuff in these things? So I'll give you the quick rundown on Stephen Covey's time management matrix. Yep. We're not really managing our time with this. We're managing, if we're using it well, we're managing ourselves. Yeah. If we're not using it well, then we're trying to manage our time. But we get to choose our priorities. We get to choose our time. So we get to choose how we manage ourselves. So 4 quadrants. Picture it in your mind. Boom, boom. All right. Top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. You can see it.
Yep.
The top left, quadrant 1, urgent and important things.
I can see it, Glenda. I can see it.
Yeah, urgent and important. That's your kind of to-do list, like the stuff that's like, oh, I've got to get that done. All right. Some of it might be like important to you, but a lot of it often is important to other people, and it just falls on you. But there are deadlines in place, and they fill up our to-do list a lot. Yeah. I'm going to skip to quadrant 3, bottom left. Urgent, but not important. All right. That stuff that's just like, got to get it done, but it's just, I've got to get it done because I've got to get it done. Like, terrible, draining stuff. Quadrant 4, if we go across to the right, is not urgent, not important. All right. And we fill our time with a lot of this stuff. Yeah. TV. Social media.
It should be empty, hey?
For sure. And I mean, we know that we do have to have some relaxation time where you can switch off and just binge on something for a bit. But Csikszentmihalyi, who's the author of Flow, and the kind of key psychologist behind the concept of flow, came up with it, all that sort of thing, talks about the fact that if we're doing that quadrant 4 stuff without meaning to do it, if we're sitting there watching something and going, oh, I should be doing something else, then we're not relaxing. Like, it's not achieving its purpose. We're not in flow in that activity. Whereas if we've carved out time for it and you have no guilt and no worry about, this is my time to just put my feet up and watch a bit of whatever you're watching, then we can sort of really get into it and enjoy the experience, and it's achieved its purpose of relaxing, and I was able to unwind, and now I can go back to getting things done. But if it's a guilty experience, or you've got that little voice going, man, you should be doing something else right now, then the quadrant 4 stuff needs to go, because it's extremely detrimental to not only our schedule, our
productivity and potential,
but also our mental health as well. And now we come up to quadrant 2 in the top right, which, if you haven't figured it out yet, is important but not urgent. And that's where kind of all the really big dreams, stuff, the dream stuff, because you can always go, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or blah, 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 blah. And if you think from a parenting perspective, a lot of times it's like real quality time with the kids often falls in that box, because it's super important, but oftentimes the urgent stuff will take over.
Take priority, which it shouldn't be. But
exactly. So how can we make that quadrant 2 stuff more of a priority in our lives and schedule those priorities rather than prioritizing what's on our schedule?
Got a question for you, listeners. What would you do to prepare for your life if you only had 30 days left to live?
Wowie. Oh, damn.
I mean, like, I'm thinking to myself now, like, when are we, raised to that question, I'd be like, man, I don't even have a will yet. Like, there's people I need to, like, tie up loose ends, but also at the same time, you're like, make sure my connections and my relationships are all good. But then part of me is like, you want to explore the world, you want to live life to the fullest for the last 30 days. Like, what would you do to fully prepare to live, to maximize the life that you had left in that 30 days? Yeah. And you've got to prepare. Like, you can't just be like, oh yeah, just see what happens. Because like we said, time, crazy concept.
And life.
Yeah.
Like there is someone in my world who's kind of just been through that experience recently within their family. And it's spent their final kind of weeks just preparing and getting things loose ends tied up and making sure that the people who are left behind sadly are left behind but preparing for them to make the transition as smooth as possible and all that sort of stuff. And so for us, like, we don't have that deadline necessarily of this is what's going to happen, but I think we do need to have that sort of slice of reality that this does happen to people and it could happen to us. And even if it doesn't happen to us, how can we kind of harness that to maximize what we're doing now and tie up some loose ends?
Yeah, I mean, I think people would, if they were told they only had 30 days left to live, I think that 30 days of life would be, hectic, but also of higher quality and meaning than the days preceding. I mean, not to discount what they've done, but it just has that more urgency and more substance behind it, I guess. And I think it's almost the same way that we want to live all of our lives, even if we don't have that deadline.
We meant to speak about it last week when we were talking about completion. Yeah. But I forgot to, so I'll bring it up now. We're asking now at the moment, like, what's incomplete in your life, and go and get it done. In our weekly newsletter, the kind of action aspect of that was to just look around the room you're in, find something that's incomplete, and go and complete it right now.
For those listeners, I did finish painting my fence.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy. Put it there.
Oh, look out. But here's a challenge. If you're listening and you have a broken relationship in your life, challenge set. Go and complete. And by complete, I don't mean end it. Like, it is complete now. Yeah. But go and tie up the loose end there and reconcile and reconnect. Why? Because I think, I don't want to speak about people's situations because I don't know. Yeah. But in some cases, at least, I think that it would be a regret for someone if they didn't do that. So I just want.
That's the last thing you want to be thinking about. Living the end of your life with regret.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right. Definitely priorities. People are the priorities that we would want to prioritize. Yep. And then if we're talking about preparing and performing them priorities, it's got to be people first. Connect. Life Biscuits.
Absolutely. Where are people fitting into you? If we're performing the priorities and if we're performing them every day, where are people? Life Biscuits is about making an impact on people, fulfilling our potential to fulfill the potential of others and to connect strong. Where are we fitting them in? How are we going about our interactions with people? How can we rehearse interactions with them? How can we plan for those and evaluate previous ones? And, one of the best catchphrases I've learned through my readings over the years, again, comes from Stephen Covey, and it's, slow is fast with people and fast is slow. Yeah. Earlier I said, we were talking about effectiveness and efficiency. And I said there's something that we shouldn't try and be efficient with. Tasks and whatnot we can be efficient with, but we can't be efficient with people. And if we have that mindset of, someone's at my door, or I've got this relationship and I'm in a rush, I need to be efficient with them, or with my kids, if I'm a parent, I need to be efficient, get this conversation done. There's a learning opportunity, I'll try and be efficient with it. That's not going to end well. Yeah. Slow is fast with people. So if I take the time to slow down and connect and try and seek first to understand and all of that sort of stuff, that's actually going to be fast in the long run, rather than trying to be efficient now It's going to draw out because there's going to be continued and ongoing issues. So slow is fast with people, and fast is slow. Like, get that into your boy.
Another link to another biscuit that we've talked about. I mean, we talked about completion with confidence. And confidence is always indirect proportion to preparation, as Darren Martin has said. And I think, sorry, I think that might be an error. My apologies. But I mean, if you think about it, the more confident like you are, it's because you put in the preparation. So it's direct proportion. Ain't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
so we talked about the link with connect, right? And we talked about people, and then now, preparation with confidence, like preparation, big Bicky that just links to a lot of things.
Exactly.
And we'll talk about how it links to habits and consistency and discipline and all the other biscuits to come with it.
I think definitely I know just from, and I'm sure people would agree, like if you are well prepared for something, there's just that air of confidence that you're like, I've fully prepared everything, I've rehearsed this, I've evaluated all the major things that I need to include in it and whatnot. Like it just naturally builds confidence. So there's that wonderful link there with the previous biscuit, and then to link it to next week's biscuit, which is going to be again another hard-hitting sucker about just getting over it and getting stuff done.
Doing stuff you don't want to do.
And do it. We've got to trust that process of preparation. Like if we do it, trust the process. Yeah. All right.
Shout out to Jamie Krasansky and the 76ers.
Yeah, go Joel Embiid. MVP season. All right. Cool. So we're going to get fruit if we're going to go ahead and do this, prep acronym, then we are going to get fruit, and by that I mean things are going to go well for us, and we're going to start seeing yummy, tasty things happening in our life. We're going to have peace of mind, all right, because we know we've got the particulars covered.
Sorted, yeah.
We don't have that little voice saying, what's going to catch you out? There's something you need to do, but what is it?
Yeah.
Because you'll have it covered. It gives us people power.
Yep.
All right, because again, we've rehearsed interactions and we are confident and we know that we want to prioritize people and get connected with them. We know that we're going to encounter pain in our day because, again, we've been there and we know that this is going to be an uncomfortable situation, but we seek discomfort, right?
Yeah. And I mean, preparation is almost, to a degree, a prevention, all right? So, because if you prepare, you're going to avoid or reduce the chances or frequency of those
faux pas.
Faux pas, and not ideal situations because you've got those contingencies in place.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, good stuff to happen with prep.
Good fruits to gobble up.
Definitely. All right, shall we hit some dunk? Hit the dunk, Lowy. First dunk.
The challenge.
Yeah, the challenge. We talked about meditation before. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah.
May meditation. It's May right now. For the rest of May, we are challenging you.
One minute of meditation.
Yeah, 1 minute of meditation each day.
Yeah.
In May. That's not too hard. 1 minute.
Get in your TARDIS. Time travel.
That's less than 0.1% of your day.
Oh, if the maths is right, yes, I believe so.
It would be like 0.66%
Yeah.
of your day. Come on. And for that meditation, we just want you to close your eyes. And two options here. Single point focus. So maybe just some breathing.
Yeah. Feel the nostril hairs wave in the air as the air comes in.
Kind of some deep breaths in, hold that, deep breaths out, feel that air going out of your lungs, feel that your lungs empty, and go again just for 1 minute. Your other option is to do a meditative rehearsal. So just going ahead and thinking about either your day that's coming and what particulars you have to take care of in that day, including some interactions with people and how that's going to go, or an evaluative meditation of, at the end of the day, go through your day, picture it, what was good, what wasn't, and just experience that peace of mind, get some data.
Second part of the dunk, so the meditation, 1 minute, easy to do. Second part of the dunk, bit of journaling, all right? Write that sucker down, If you're just thinking about it and you're not recording anything down or planning the particulars in your journal, you're not actually getting this prep acronym down pat.
Yeah.
And we're not saying write a massive list and feel good.
Lists can be good though.
They're good. But you're not making the list for the sake of making lists and ticking them off. Exactly. There's bigger things behind it.
Like if you want to do that, you go for it.
Yeah.
Like I've written
feels
things
good.
like
Definitely feels good.
I'll send an email and then I'll write it on my list and cross it off.
Yeah, take that. Completion.
Don't necessarily write like get dressed and then cross that off. But extra step with the journal thing, like carry it with you, like at work or whatever you're doing, carry it with you. Because the amount of times I've been called out by someone, I'll be on the fly and someone will be like, yeah, Marto, can you do this for me? And I'll be like, yeah, no worries. Yeah. And I'll be like, no, I won't forget that. Definitely remember. 2 days later, they'll be like, how'd you go? And I'll be like,
being called out,
Or that unethical thing will come in and I'll be like, oh, no, this happened. And then...
Yeah, I'll get it to you. I'll get it to you later.
I've got it in my Outbox or whatever it might be. Like, just carry something with you and write it down. Again, your mind will play tricks on you. It will say, you will not forget this. You will. You will. All right. Yeah. So a couple of really simple dunks there. Carve out the time. All right. Yeah, we've given you a 1 minute, 0.66% of your day to do some meditation, but carve out, pull that bow back, right? We got to carve out some decent time in our day for preparation. For the prep, for the particulars, for the rehearsal, for the evaluation, all right, and for the priorities.
Damn straight.
Cool. I think we're done.
Yeah, I think we're done too.
Thanks for joining us.
It's been a good episode.
Yeah, look, man, again, I hope people are getting value from it. If they're not, sucks to be you, because I'm getting something from it, which is... the minimum that we wanted to do, and I'm loving it. So lifebikkies@gmail.com, 2 Ks. Haven't had too many emails coming in, so keep them coming, those 2 people. And then please like posts on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, really appreciate any exposure you can get us.
Yeah, just to get that word out there. Yeah. There's been some real troopers just liking the stuff, just like, bam, like.
Shout out to the Taylor twins, thank you so much.
Just like...
Robert Eglinton, you my boy.
Yeah. I've been like... I'm like, Lowie, who are these people? Because they're just all over it. So
and we appreciate that support. It just means so much.
Marzi. Nat
Love
Fraser.
Marzi.
Kanga Training on Instagram.
Love it.
Kanga Training Toowoomba. If you've got a baby, hit her up. Love you guys. And then livebiscuits.com.
Yeah. Sign up to the email list.
Email list, yep. Check that out. You get some snack size wisdom for you there. And
we'll catch you next week.
Yeah. For discipline.
Discipline. Doing stuff you don't want to do.
Do it. All right. Peace out.
Peace.
Time to go.
So delicious.
I'm feeling full.
Yum yum in my tum tum.
Gotta digest them bikkies.